The Pack is back in this new 3D platform adventure game. You all know I've been excited for this game's release. So, putting that excitement aside, is Pac-Man's return a glorious one, or does it fall flat? First, let's look at the game's presentation. I adore the way this game looks. It's updated and clean, but still delightfully wacky. The worlds you explore each have their own identity, and the visuals overall set the tone of the game very well. Most of the music is either from the show or recycled from previous Pac-Man games, such as Pac-Man Party for the Wii and Pac-Man Championship Edition DX. The music sets the mood well and overall does its job, but you're going to hear the same songs quite a bit, and the soundtrack kind of pales in comparison to, say, Pac-Man World 2. However, I will say this. The title theme is unbelievably awesome. It is one of the best remixes of Pac-Man's Park from Pac-Mania I have ever heard. The voice acting is okay. It's surprising how many of the voice actors from the show don't return in this game. The voice actors that replace them do alright though, for the most part at least. It's kind of like with some of the characters in SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. You can tell that they're voiced by different actors, but it's evident that they're really trying. So with the graphics and sound out of the way, let's look at the gameplay, and I'll be looking at it from a couple of different angles. Fans of the Pac-Man World series have generally been excited for this game because of the possibility that it would have resurrected the gameplay of that sub-series. Does it? Well, in many ways, it actually does! Your goal in each stage is to make your way to the end, jumping over obstacles and eating ghosts in the process. At the end of each level, you'll either get a fruit or an arcade token. Both of these are used to play the arcade games present at the area of diversion, similar to Pac-Man World 2. The major difference here, though, is that the fruit allow you to unlock the machines, and you use the collected tokens each time you play them. The platforming in the game is very reminiscent of Pac-Man World 2's platforming, and a lot of the techniques they used in that game do make a return here. However, even with the abundance of platforming sections in this game, these techniques, while present, aren't as emphasized upon as they were in World 2. Part of this is because of the difference in art direction. Like I've said in my top 10 best games list, Pac-Man World 2's art direction was very well implemented and made the already strong platforming even stronger. It made the obstacles you were jumping over feel very dangerous and all-encompassing. Here, there's some of that, especially in some of the earlier levels. Everything is a little too block-like in order for the player to really feel that sense of danger, at least as much as in World 2. However, that doesn't mean it's bad, far from it. In fact, the different kinds of platforms with varying stability as well as the platform placement are dealt with very nicely. The level design in general is simply fantastic. There's a stronger emphasis on exploration and free roaming than ever before. There are several different paths and detours you can take while going through a level, pretty much to Turrican proportions. Something I found myself doing while playing a stage again is taking a different path than I did the prior time, leading me to parts of the level that I never saw before. Speaking of replay value, the stage progression is non-linear. Like in Pac-Man World 2, there's a Mario 3-like map system. Unlike Pac-Man World 2, though, and more like the Mario games that have used such a system, except that one, you don't have to complete every stage in order to progress to the next world. However, you are rewarded for playing the extra stages, as you'll occasionally run into roadblocks that will require a certain number of Pac dots in order to progress. And playing a new stage is one way to collect more. You're also given more tokens for completing these stages as well. So while Pac-Man's moves are different from those in the Pac-Man World series, the game itself plays out very similarly in many ways. So how is this game in its own right? Actually, this game holds up pretty well in that regard too. In the game, you're going to be put into situations that will require you to problem solve in order to progress. The key solutions to getting you past these scenarios come through the central elements of the gameplay: platforming, exploration, and eating things, whether it be power-ups to manipulate the environment or a group of ghosts in a certain area. You actually have to actively analyze your surroundings and think, okay, what is the game itself communicating to me? And when I say that, I don't mean through text bubbles or signs or lines of dialogue, but the structure of the levels themselves. In one way or another, you're going to be constantly doing this throughout the duration of the game. This is great and is executed very well. However, as a result of this, you're pretty much going to be stuck with your basic interactions most of the time, and this limits the variety a little bit. But wait, what about the vehicles Namco Bandai has been talking about? Well, those sections are accessed through the arcade machines. They are not part of the standard game, but hey, at the very least, we still have the option to play them, and they are fun. The Cherry Copter game is like Defender, the Lemon Rocket game is a spaceship shooter, the Pineapple Tank game is kind of a mix between Pac-Man and Combat, and finally, the Pac-Mania game is like a Sonic bonus stage mixed with Lotus Turbo Challenge 2 and a shoot 'em up. Needless to say, it's my favorite one out of the four, and it's pretty much this game's equivalent of Blade Mountain from Pac-Man World 2. It's fast-paced, the music is awesome, and I play it a lot. Yes, it probably would have made the game's experience overall more fun if these were part of the regular levels, but I fully understand why they didn't include them, and it does allow the game to keep the focus on where it should be. This game's artistic goal isn't the same as Pac-Man World 2's, where it makes every interaction you have a spectacle. This, like I said, is all about rewarding the player for analyzing their surroundings. The platforming, exploration, ghost and pellet munching, as well as the boss fights all contribute to this, and the game itself is very strong as well as consistently engaging. Is it one of the all-time best games I've played? Not exactly, but I would say that it is one of the better ones. It's at the very least one of the better games in the Pac-Man series. I'd give it either an A- or a B+. So if you're looking for a game that's not only fun, but also has a brain to it, then I definitely say that it's a satisfying experience that's at the very least worth looking into.